both getting up at the same time.
Ew. 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 Did you catch that?
I certainly did, Emily. I wish I hadn't. Wish I hadn't had my hands up for that one. Miracle Lane 2, baby. Rev those wheels and shift those gears.
As Sheila would say.
Fuck,
I think that's the mom's name.
It is her name. I forgot I forgot she had a name.
Yeah.
That's why you put the subtitles on.
Yeah, for sure.
So you know the parent's name. Although, does his dad have a name?
Myron.
No.
Yep.
You're
Yeah,
joking.
at the end
me.
when they're playing basketball, it had his name. Second.
Wow.
That might have been the only time
I think
that
so.
it comes up.
I mean,
but
I didn't see it.
My brain just happened to be like,
Myron.
So I
Myron,
got it locked in there.
why'd you yell at Seth like that? Why'd you beat the hell out of our son? He didn't, but it seemed like he was
didn't.
going in there
You
with
thought
that
he
energy.
might. You thought he might.
Yeah. Yes. Well, let's talk about Myron, huh? Why not start there? Or not. Now, Myron, not a great dad, but it does seem like he's trying at the end, like once that scene. But just that scene, though, in the garage after he misses the baseball game, as much as he is opening up to, like, his one son, I do feel like it's still, like, he wasn't really taking responsibility for his actions in that, which is fucked up.
I agree with that. I sort of think, like, because how old is Seth supposed to be? Probably like 15
I think he's 15,
or 16.
yeah.
15. So, like, obviously, like, as a 15-year-old, but he's going to therapy. He's at least sort of, like, on the end of, like, trying to figure out what's going on with himself.
Yeah,
so he's probably more open to hearing that stuff from his dad than the average teenager in these movies. And I think this is getting a little too, like, real life-ish, but I think sometimes, like, when your kids are teenagers and you have to start talking to them about adult stuff as if they are an adult, even though they're not going to appreciate what you're saying in that moment, but then when you're an adult and you can look back on that stuff and sort of be like, oh, I kind of get it now.
Right.
Yeah.
Even
if they're not gonna get it right then, you got to try.
Yeah,
and
of course.
then, obviously we're only, but
sure.
Seth's going to therapy. Maybe he can understand that his dad was the one taking him to therapy every day.
That's true.
We don't know that his dad wasn't going in the room with him.
Well, that would have been insane.
Family
so I
therapy?
hope not. Well, just the two of them? No, that's more couples therapy between a father and son.
Sure. The mom's great. No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
That woman, that actress, always brings it.
She's great.
I meant to look up her name.
Oh, I know. I forgot to.
Yep,
also.
and I completely forgot to do that.
Oh, because I looked at first and then I didn't retain that.
Yeah.
But
that's one of the strong parts of this movie, though, was I thought the acting was really good.
Yeah,
all the way
good.
across the board. And I honestly, even though all the characters like have their flaws, I liked all of the characters.
Yeah.
Like there was never one. A lot of times in these movies, one person will come into screen and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, this guy.
There wasn't like the annoying. Yeah.
That's true. There weren't a ton of
like Seth's girlfriend is there, but she's not like good or bad really. Like him and his weird friend are just kind of there in like two scenes, so it's like who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Which is good. It's good that they didn't give them like more time. I guess.
But at least I think it's nice that they are there. So it's like, oh, he has friends. There's stuff going on outside. Like it just is one of those like realism. Just adds a little bit more. Like it's not all just this bubble of people or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And in that way, I think the movie does what you're saying very well. But then, of course, you have the God stuff, which is wild. We should just look into more like the actual Justin Yonder.
I think that would make things make more sense. Probably.
You think Justin Yonder saw heaven?
Are you asking if I think he's still alive or not?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, well, okay. Because like,
that's not what I'm asking.
So, okay, I just want to put this out this is my overarching theme of my feeling about this movie. I've never done such a hard 180 on one of these movies before. Usually, like in the beginning, I'm either like, okay, this is going to be pretty good, or like this is going to be a real drag. The beginning of this movie is brutal.
It's
brutal.
Horrific.
It's so
first
bad.
30 minutes of this movie feels like
really,
forever.
Yes. Like,
and then the rest of it really flew by.
It's like a whole different movie almost. Like,
it completely
it's so
is. It completely is.
Just, yeah.
And it's compelling, too.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
Like, I was so into it after that because, like, yeah, so there's all the, image parts where he's, like, is talking to God. And, like, I wasn't raised in that way, so that's kind of stuff just like, whatever. But, like, I get it when you're a kid and you're confused about life. And, like,
sure.
Even if you're not brought up as being religious, like, that other people are or, might be. So, you do the, like, well, just in case there is a God, maybe I should say something.
100%. Yeah. Check in with them.
And it was probably part of, like, a big part of the actual, it's based on a true story, was probably part of the real Justin's childhood. A lot, it was probably something that was, like, otherwise I feel like they wouldn't have included it that much, but, like.
I wonder, though, if. Because that stuff does, it's tossed around, like it's sporadically kind of thrown into the movie. I wonder what else they would have done to fill that time, though.
Right.
And if the movie would have been worse.
Right, because I'm trying to think, like, if those parts weren't in it.
Yeah. What happens?
Yeah, would it change my feeling about it? I think that it should have just been him thinking that, him imagining, wishing he was talking to his hero race car driver, Bobby Wade. And so it's like Bobby Wade is like taking the form of God, but he's still calling him God. He just needs to put a face on him. So he picks him. But like, I wish it would have just been like, oh, like, in Ratatouille, when Remy is talking to like the dead chef, but he knows it's his own imagination talking to him. Like, I sort of wish he just thought he was talking to Bobby Wade the whole time.
Boom. And just like that, you fucking solve the problem. Yeah. Emily. That's absolutely true.
So I don't know. But obviously, if it was important to this person, then,
sure. Toss it in there. Yeah. Why not?
Sure. It's supposed to be about him. Make it about him.
Yeah, but this is... you know what this does, though, is it excites me a little bit more for some of the ones we have coming up. Not necessarily that I think they're going to be good, but like at least what this movie has done by starting off so badly and then turning the whole thing around, becoming something good. Yeah. It makes me, because with all these other movies, the second they start, which way it's going to go. Yeah. And we've been right about every single one of them.
I would say so, yeah.
So at least now we know, like, maybe there's a little more potential in these little TV movies than we first realized. Yep. Maybe there's a touch of magic. Yeah.
Because, like... yeah, man, that first 30 minutes was so brutal.
It's fucking crazy.
But, like, so really, the best part of this whole thing is, like, his relationship with the neighbor. Yes. And, like, the neighbor's there in the beginning. He's like, get out, stop throwing basketball at my truck or whatever. And, like, I thought that he was going to come back in, like, a very small way. Mm-hmm. But no, like, that becomes the whole, like, once the movie starts really getting in on that, I'm like, yes, I love this. I'm so into this. This is what I care about now, and I can't wait. Like, like, because, like, I love that. Like, again, it's like The Sandlot, or, like, I could probably name a bunch more if I thought about it. But you know what I mean? Of like,
Home Alone has that neighbor guy. Who's the mean?
That he becomes friends with?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Home Alone in so long.
Oh, you should. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, you're right. But yes, you see what I'm saying? Of like, crotchety old neighbor. Everyone thinks there's something wrong with them, but really they're just...
Really just as a dead kid.
It's just, it's like an old person who's had, like...
trauma.
Yeah. And so then it's like, so... Yes. That is so good. And this movie does it so well. Because that actor is really good and really funny.
That's the one
really
where I'll look him up right now.
Like,
because Vic makes this movie.
Yes.
Vic absolutely
and like
makes
even
this
like
movie.
how he like befriends the parents and like,
He just completely comes out of the shell.
Because if it was just like, oh... it's just this kid and the neighbor, like, that would be a little bit like, where's your parents at, kid? But because it's like all of them, and again, it's one of those things of like a family healing from something together, like Rip Girls and stuff, like, because some of these movies, it's like there's all this, like, the Boogeyman one.
Yeah. Don't look under the bed.
Yes, yeah. The son had cancer, the daughter's traumatized by it, and she has to just resolve all this on her own with like a magical guy.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I just wish that there were more. Yeah, like I think the movies like Rip Girls and this one do that way better of like, just get everybody in on it.
Yes,
just get everybody 100%. In on this. It's way better. It's way more fun to watch all these people interact and like all their acting. It's just so much more there. There's so much more substance. You know?
Yeah. And everybody kind of gets their own moments to shine, you know what I'm saying?
The parents talk by themselves. The dad and the older son, they have their own like scenes or whatever.
Even the dad and Vic.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. They're best friends now. They are best friends now, dude. They're
He's coming over for Thanksgiving, you know? Vic doesn't have to be alone anymore.
What do you think Vic is bringing to Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh, that's a good question. He probably hasn't touched a stove since his wife died.
No.
You know what I mean?
So I feel like it's, dude, now I'm picturing the scene. We're in Vic's house. It's real dusty. He opens a cabinet. There's a tiny metal box with flowers on it, right? He pops it open. It's his wife recipes box. And then he's flipping through it. He's like, well, I tried to make these yams or something my wife used to, crush every time. They didn't come out so well. And then, but everybody understands. Everyone's like, oh, this is great.
And then Seth is sitting on the end and he's like, Dad, this is gross. No, like, eat it.
Oh, God. Too good. What a great fake scene that would be.
This did not happen in the movie.
No, but
for the record.
But I feel like it happened right here, though.
Yeah.
I can feel it in my heart.
It may as well have.
That, you know what? I mean, look, that's interesting because, again, I don't know if, and I think it's because the way, not the very end of this movie, obviously, but where it should have ended. Oh, I want to talk about that so bad.
Let's save that for
Yes, but where this movie should have ended, maybe that's what does it, but I don't think we've ever really considered like these characters in any of these movies before, like continuing on
like
afterwards,
as if, they're just yeah.
Roger Aaron Brown is the fella who played Vic.
Cool.
And he was in RoboCop.
Oh, okay.
He was in Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, the Steve Carell movie.
Okay, that's a good movie.
He was in... he did voice act. Wait, is he dead? No, he's alive. He's alive. Don't worry.
He's got a good voice.
That was close. He does. Well, that's the thing.
Voice acting.
He did voice acting for an Assassin's Creed game.
Oh, okay.
He was... Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, sick. So he's,
good for him.
He's been in stuff.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing.
He's great.
He really is. I want to see what Seth has done because I know I recognize that dude. I'm trying to think from
I feel like I know what he looks like older.
Yes.
But like seeing him whatever age he is in this.
He's got one of those faces.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Man.
Well, no.
Justin's ruining my life. He was really whiny for like the athletic kid in a movie.
Oh, fuck, he's in Brink. He's Peter in Brink. The kid who couldn't fucking land the trick in Brink. Oh,
my God. Holy shit. I'm glad he had his time to shine.
That's insane. Wild.
That's
I can't believe it.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God, he played Donny Osmond in something called Inside the Osmonds, which was a TV movie that I guess is about like the Osmond family.
He does kind of look like Donny Osmond.
I got to tell my mom about that. My mom fucking loves Donny Osmond.
That's hilarious.
She went to see, years ago, she went to New York City with her friends to see Beauty and the Beast on Broadway because I think Donny Osmond was playing Gaston. And she bought a mug that's got like the Beauty and the Beast logo and a rose, and then Donny Osmond is also on there. Not in costume, mind you.
Just Donny Osmond.
Just wearing like a blazer and a nice button-up shirt. And they waited like, at the exit.
Yeah.
And she got him to like sign the mug or something like that.
That's cool.
I guess so.
Have you seen Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat?
No, I didn't even know there was a movie of that one.
It's like it's like a movie musical. Like it's filmed like a broad.
Oh, it's like it's like the Hamilton Disney Plus thing. It's like a stage show.
Not.
Okay.
It's like when you can tell, like, oh, this is a movie adaptation of a Broadway movie. Like the way it just kind of is.
Cool.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I watched it when I was kind of young, and it's freaky. Donny Osmond plays Joseph.
You know what I do? That does sound familiar now. I always get that. I don't see. I don't think I've ever actually heard a song from that musical.
Yeah.
Because I always get it confused with Jesus Christ Superstar, obviously.
Yeah.
And that one, I've definitely heard. My cousin was in a production of
Nice.
that in high school, and it was so weird.
I have seen like one really good version of that and one version that I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah, this is brutal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, what else do we have?
The end of this movie. Okay, so like I said, this is the biggest 180 I've ever done on a movie. That ending almost brought me back to a 360 of being pissed. I was trying so hard not to laugh because obviously I don't want to be,
Of course. But that's crazy. But that's but what the fuck was that?
I know.
What?
I know. Because it wasn't just the okay. Because it's like, okay. So for anybody, I feel like I should just summarize what happened.
Yeah.
So
do your best. Godspeed. Godspeed. I'm going to sit here.
At the very end, right, and everything's resolved. He won the national thing. His brother's outside playing basketball. He wheels past his brother's shelf of trophies. Then he wheels over to his one big trophy that he's got now. And he has one more, like, God vision. But God is in like a full like race car outfit this time.
And honestly, it did look sick.
It did.
That was my favorite costume of the movie. That was
yes.
Except for the big fucking 97.
So, and then he says, so God, I guess you were right about like everything working out in the end. And you had a good plan after all, which I can respect that of like, God's got a plan for everybody. Okay, that's fine. And then he goes, I just have one more question or something like that. He's like, in heaven, when people get to heaven, is everybody perfect? Implying like when I die and go to heaven someday, am I going to be able to walk and stand or fly or whatever? Yeah. First of all, everybody in heaven's probably floating. If there's a heaven, I better not have to walk.
God.
I'll be pissed.
Oh, give me a break.
Anyway, so then God is like, do you want to see? Which first of all makes it sound like, oh, son, do you want to die in your sleep tonight? Which is not what's happening, but it's very weird. He walks over to their version of the pearly gates, which are very like car mechanic looking.
They're just like, large doors. They look to me like very Ministry of Magic.
Yeah, so he keeps the key on like one of those things as a zip. He opens it, and you look into heaven, and it's a lot. I don't know how to describe this.
It's fucking like crazy.
Glowing gold, like every stereotypical 2000s heaven imagery, but there's cherubs and people all flying around with wings, but they're all sitting in wheelchairs. Like lots of them are swirling around. And then have you seen the Muppets Christmas Carol and the Ghost of Christmas
Present Future?
The one that's the baby.
Oh, the Christmas Past.
Is that past?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The baby, the cherub thing that comes up in a wheelchair right at your face at the end looks like that thing.
Which is insane because they just like freeze on that. And it's almost
the end of the...
It looks like a still image. And also, when Emily says that there's like a lot of them, it's hundreds. And they're all like... There's no structures or anything. It's just clouds, right? And they're all like... It's a swirling ball of winged wheelchair angels.
Yes.
And... Then, they cut back to Frankie Muniz, and he goes, perfect.
Yeah. And, like...
It's just fucking crazy that they would put that in there.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I really don't. And, look, we could speculate. We could speculate for hours. I don't think we'd ever come to a good answer. But it's just like, what the fuck? What is that? Why is that in there?
I don't know if it's just supposed to be, like... I just feel like that nails home the God in heaven thing a little too hard. Mm-hmm. Like, I get it. He's been talking to God this whole time.
Yeah.
That's fine. If he wants to go up and be like, God, you know what? You're right. I just need to be patient and find my thing, Like, whatever. But the whole, like, making heaven so literally seen in something, I feel like is hard if it's not a movie about that.
Oh, for sure.
And I just, like, I don't know if it's just really supposed to be like, hey, all you kids watching out there, I don't know. The whole like, will I ever be perfect? Oh, you were the blueprint all along. Like
you were the blueprint.
I don't know. Like I don't know. I just can't. I don't.
It almost takes away from. Because here's the thing: this movie is about like a kid in a wheelchair, and I guess the whole thing does kind of revolve around the fact that he's in a wheelchair. But there's a very heavy-handed way, I guess, to do things that I feel like would be more typical of some of these movies, especially maybe if they'd been a little earlier in this one. If this one had been in 99, could have been a lot more problematic, I want to say.
Sure, yeah.
But, like, hey, just because someone's in a wheelchair doesn't mean it's like a crazy thing. Like they're still just a regular person.
Like he has a lot of personality. And,
of course. And I feel like doing that at the end maybe
it's sort of like caricaturized.
Yes, it takes away from the whole point of the movie, and the movie does such a great job of doing that thing where you forget that he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because you're so involved in, like, you just want him to win.
Right,
you just want this kid to,
after a certain point, it's like, whatever.
You just want this kid and his family to be happy, and Vic, who is part of his family now.
Right, yes, that is his uncle.
Yes.
But it's like, it's not just that he's in a wheelchair, right? Like, they name the disability that he has. He has spina bifida, he has, like, swelling on his, he has fluid on his brain, whatever. So it's also that it's like, okay, then we can conceive that there's some, like, actual danger for him, or doing this maybe, or like that he could get hurt and it'd be bad for him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they, when I first saw like the, going into this, I was like, oh, is he just going to be a kid in a wheelchair who we vaguely don't know what's wrong with, and just the being in the wheelchair is like his disability or whatever, but like we don't know why or if he's in danger, but it's like, oh, he has like a real disability and like we know why, like he could get hurt or something or whatever.
I think that's why the movie had to be based on a real dude.
Right, yeah.
Like, that's the only way it could work.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if it weren't, what you're saying is exactly what would have happened.
Right, because then it's like, why does this matter really that he's in a wheelchair? Like, just happens to be, like, anyway.
Let's see if we can find some reviews on this one.
I don't have my phone on me this time, but.
That's right. The old Faz segment. Let's see what we got here. Miracle Lane 2. It has on IMDb a 7.9.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
For like these movies, that's solid.
Yeah. Some of the ones that we think are really good have like not great reviews sometimes, or like scores on websites. Oh no.
Well, it's okay. There's actually no this person didn't actually give the movie a rating. But the title of their review is "Great Movie. It Made Me Think Twice About Discrimination." This is from May 15th, 2000. I thought the film was well done and deserves to be recognized. There is an all-important theme of discriminating, all because you are not normal. I think that through this movie, people can see that people with disabilities are just as human as we are, and they have feelings too.
Oh, this movie had to do that. Here's the thing. I don't really think this movie is about discrimination at all, really. The last like 5 minutes maybe. See, you're supposed to understand that for yourself from this movie, but the movie's not about discrimination.
You're right.
The movie's about like, oh, my life changed when my brother was born. My dad doesn't come to my stuff anymore. They're worried about him. You know what I mean?
So it's just like a family trying to navigate the situation that they're in.
And like treat both of their sons fairly when they're both clearly different, which it is not what they mean by discrimination. This movie's not really about discrimination. They're about to discriminate against him for like 5 minutes, and then they literally don't.
Yeah, which again, that's the thing. It's like, this is not just a movie about a kid in a wheelchair,
Yeah.
Okay, this one says Frankie for the win and an exclamation point.
Okay.
But it's only 6 out of 10 stars.
This is another crazy thing about these reviews, is that like someone could title their review like, "This is my favorite movie of all time," and then you look and it's like 7 out of 10. And it's like, I don't think you understand how this works.
Okay, let's see here. I am teetering between a 5 and a 6 rating because the Disney Channel original movie was far and away better than most of the ones that came before it. But some of the God scenes, parentheses especially at the end with the angels in wheelchairs, was just kind of dumb, and to me, soapbox racing is just kind of boring. I differ on that. I thought it was shot in a sick ass way.
Yes, I thought, right. And that was, again, why going into it, I was like, oh, the subject matter is going to be boring.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he doesn't really start doing the soapbox racing until like kind of far into it.
Yeah, it takes him
like it's like after the first 30 minutes,
longer
like he has to go through. Yeah. But then they do like Vic's like talking about it. Like he sounds like a guy who actually knows
that's what's
about soapbox racing.
That's what's
like
so
he's
fucking
saying all these
awesome
things,
about
and I'm
him.
like, whoa, I never thought about that. This is so cool. Like, look at all these kids. Like, yeah, they made it cool. Why couldn't they
really did?
Why couldn't they do that for bowling?
Oh my god. They didn't even come close with bowling. Yes, but Vic talking about like he acted so well, by the way. Like he just so comfortable, like, so natural,
authority.
Incredible.
He's like, "Oh, you have this question?
I know the answer, and I'm not gonna. God,
so good."
Let's see. Soapbox racing. Is just kind of boring, but little Frankie Muniz is adorable and carried this movie. Kid really did do a very great job.
Even with like Does he like kind of stop narrating as the movie goes on?
There's a big break.
Yeah.
There's a big break.
He'll
in between.
make like comment, like he'll be like, "Oh, my bad," in his head or whatever. But
yes, that's the thing I didn't like actually, is because his narration for a lot of parts was like he was just narrating like what we were seeing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just like the thing that just happened. He's like, well, that's blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Like we don't have to learn that your dad is a workaholic. We can, like, he's missing all your brother's baseball games to like paint a house.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's true. Like we do. Yeah. I just want to finish this one off.
Yeah.
It's cool too, that this was based on a true story. This movie covered some heavy topics without getting too heavy. That's accurate.
Yeah.
The brother dynamic was sweet, though the actors were kind of obviously older than the characters' ages they were portraying. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not the best movie, but it was a sweet story. I'd recommend to watch. Okay, this is a 10 out of 10 from February 2006.
Okay.
My favorite movie ever.
Ever.
Yes. And they think it's realistic.
God scenes and all.
God scenes and all. I indirectly quote. That's part of this review. Okay, I'll just read it. Justin Yoder, parentheses, played by Frankie Muniz, and parentheses, is your average 12-year-old kid except for a movement problem known as spina bifida. He likes sports, but until a point near the end of the movie when he finds out he at least has a chance to be good at something, I indirectly quote, okay, there may be a few minor problems with me trying to win a trophy for starters. Will I have enough time? You see, I have a problem. I can't read that word. It makes spinal fluid build up in my head.
Hydrocephaly or whatever.
Yes. Just talking about the thing in his head. Justin explains it, and his parents and brother freak out. I like the climax because it was realistic. I think you know what happens. What a great way to end a review.
The title has the word miracle in it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know he's going to win.
That's true.
That little girl was never going to beat him.
But you know what? Man, what a great point, because that miracle is in the title, but it does not take away from the gravity of the miracle that we're watching. True that. Well, okay, coming up next week, Stepsister from the Planet Weird, which I feel like I have heard of, but I've definitely never seen.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, I'll just look it up right now, because I think it's going to be weird.
Yeah, my coworkers have
they've mentioned, this is one that they've mentioned?
I don't know anything about it, though.
I just want to see the poster. Is it going to be
Color of Friendship, except she's from space?
That'd be so funny. Does that mean alien? No, I would never say alien. Let's see, Stepsister from the Planet Weird. Well, that's a poster right there, which really tells us nothing. So
see, they look older.
Like I think that's just the angle, honestly. Maybe you're right. I can't really tell from some of these photos.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know. I was expecting you to show me something much worse.
Okay, so it looks like it's about a teenager whose life is disrupted when her mother falls in love with an alien. So I'm kind of on board for that. But I can't. This movie obviously was not as good as Rip Girls. Yeah. But it was still good. And to go back to like that feeling that we've gotten from so many of these movies, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take it. I mean, that first 30 minutes, you were getting close to tapping out. No one could blame you.
I was
no
like
one could
mentally,
blame you.
But look, I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it all came back around. So what do you want to? What are you going to rate this one?
I give it a 7.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to land on a 7 as well. I think that's. Yeah, it's 7. Can't go 7.5, but it's 7 for sure. Any closing thoughts on this one?
I bet, like, if you were raised as like a Christian child, you'd fucking. You'd love this shit.
You'd be like, oh my god.
Although you were.
Yeah, but not like. Crazy,
you were raised in like God is scary religion, right?
A little. I mean, it was like when
God is watching you and making you feel bad about everything you do.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's just a fact. Like that's just what's happening.
Yeah.
But different. Like this was very like that Christian, where like Christian is not just It's your personality, right? Like the
pastor has like a little mic here, and there's a guy kind of playing drums the whole time, just like in the background.
Yes, that's this. This is like the who's that guy from You Lucky Dog? Is it Kirk Cameron? Who Jake kept bringing up doing the Christian movies. Like that's that's that style. Yeah. Well, all right. I guess that's a wrap. Yeah. Time match. All right, let's get out of here.